Welcome to the craziest theory that I think I have ever created. And when I say crazy, I truly mean crazy. So sit down, open up your mind, and listen to why I think that Chloe's Eevee is actually the Mew that Goh has been trying to catch for the entire series in disguise. Mew is a mythical Pokemon from Kanto, and it's Goh's dream to catch it. On numerous occasions now in Pokemon journeys, Mew has showed itself to be spending time around Goh, almost as if it was monitoring Goh as Goh tried to find it and catch it. Mew first met Goh and Chloe at Professor Oak's Summer Lab years ago, then Mew showed itself again in episode 20, transforming itself into a Lugia. Then Mew appeared again in episode 46, showing off its transformation abilities. So Mew kept appearing over and over from episode 1 to episode 46, but then it suddenly stopped and now we haven't seen Mew a single time in the last 75 episodes, which is really odd considering Mew is Goh's entire dream. And I think the reason that Mew suddenly disappeared and we haven't seen it since is because Mew has actually been alongside Goh this entire time, but none of us have ever noticed. We last saw Mew in episode 46, and then 3 episodes later, Chloe caught her Eevee. So I think Chloe's Eevee is Mew. Mew transformed into Eevee, and Chloe caught it. I know you're probably thinking, what on earth is this guy talking about? But the big coincidence of Mew stopping appearing after Chloe caught Eevee, that's only the beginning of this theory. We obviously know that Mew can transform into every single Pokemon, so it is plausible that Mew could have transformed into an Eevee before Chloe caught it. Mew could have been Eevee in disguise this entire time. We know that Mew likes to transform and likes to spend time around Goh monitoring him, so Mew could easily do that as Chloe's Eevee. And we know that Mew knows about Chloe being Goh's best friend because Mew met them both together at the summer camp and at the orienteering race. So it does make sense for Mew to allow itself to be caught by Chloe, since it knows that Chloe is Goh's best friend. And now for the big final point that I think ties it all together. Chloe's Eevee is completely unable to evolve. Even when Eevee was given the evolution stones, it couldn't evolve at all. The scientists at the Eevee Evolution Lab emphasized to Chloe that they think the reason that Chloe's Eevee can't evolve is because, for some reason, Eevee's DNA is extremely unstable, which makes it completely different to the other Eevee. They didn't know why Eevee's DNA was unstable, or why it stopped Eevee from evolving, but I think I know why. I think the reason that Eevee's DNA is extremely unstable is because Eevee is Mew. Mew contains the DNA of every single Pokemon in existence. That is a huge part of Mew's lore, so Eevee's DNA being unbelievably unstable fits perfectly with being a Mew, because Mew contains the DNA of every Pokemon ever, so that would absolutely make its DNA unstable. And of course, Eevee doesn't evolve when it touches an evolution stone, because like I said, Eevee is Mew. Using an evolution stone on Mew would have no effect. So it all just fits together perfectly. So yeah, I just think that Mew vanishing once Chloe's Eevee appeared, Mew being able to transform, Mew being known to monitor Goh, Mew knowing about Chloe, Eevee being unable to evolve, and the similarities in DNA between Mew and Eevee, it all comes together to suggest, in my opinion, that Chloe's Eevee could be the Mew that Goh dreams of catching, transformed and hidden in complete plain sight. I'm sure there's many other points that could support this theory too. These were just the most obvious ones. Of course, realistically, I don't actually expect this theory to be true, but I've just fallen in love with it. I love how wacky and out there the theory is, and I love how it actually has good evidence to support it. It just randomly popped into my head the other day, but just imagine if I'm right. Imagine if at the end of the Project Mew arc, Chloe's Eevee is there and it reveals that it was Mew in disguise this entire time. That would absolutely be incredible. Let me know your thoughts on this stupid theory below, and let me know if you can think of anything else that supports it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.